Hi, everybody. Namaste and happy Sunday. My name is KJ Hamus, and I'm super excited to be sharing this Sunday evening yin practice with you. So today, really make sure you've got as many props as you need. Definitely a big pillow and a blanket and a couple of yoga blocks or yoga block equivalents. And you maybe want to grab a couple extra pillows too. Like smaller ones just for variety, because you just never know where your body's at and what you'll need for the practice. So take a moment and grab all of those things, turn off your cell phone, and give yourself the space and everything that you need. So I'm really excited to be with you, and we're going to go ahead and get started. We are going to get started on our backs this evening in an active savasana. So coming onto our backs, bringing our knees up to the sky, head heavy on the mat, and let the arms just release down by the sides. So depending on how your day was and what it took to get here, before you take a couple deep breaths in, maybe you just take a couple audible sighs out. And just sort of let the day, let all of the stuff you're bringing with you just begin to really just leave and vacate this space. Take one more breath in here and really let it out. And then take several cleansing breaths, feeling the breath come in through the nose. And exhale, open the mouth, sigh it out, let it go. Deep, slow breath in through the nose. And exhale, open the mouth, sigh it out, let it go. One more breath here, full breath in. And exhale, let it go. Orienting yourself in space and time. The space being here and the time being now. So for the next 60 minutes, focusing on remaining present in your body, present in your thoughts, present in your emotions. Leaving the outside world behind for this time. Slowly begin to draw a gentle awareness to your breath. Without changing anything, without controlling anything. Just notice the rise of the inhale and the fall of the exhale. And as you become familiar with your breath, just observe where the breath is starting and stopping in the body. So while we might be receiving the breath in through the nose or even through the mouth, depending on what feels more comfortable for you right now, you may notice that it really feels like it starts in the chest. It could even stop in the chest. Or maybe you feel like it starts from the low belly and then exits through the heart. And those are just examples. So just take a couple of breaths here, several breaths here actually, to just observe what's happening with your breath and in your body. Reminding ourselves as we move throughout our practice and take whatever variation feels good for us, that we are remaining true to what we need this evening. This is not about creating the perfect shape. It's not about looking a certain way. It's about understanding what we need in that moment and honoring that. So just continue to check in with your breath here. And as you notice where the breath is starting and stopping, where does it move in between those 2 points? So does it seem to flow easy? Is it static? Is it heavy? Is it comfortable or uncomfortable? Or any other qualities or characteristics that are coming up about your breath? And then start to broaden your awareness, feeling your weight of your body on the earth. And notice the temperature in your room and how that feels on your skin. Taking this observation even deeper, begin to notice the muscle and the fascia as it wraps around the bone. Then begin to draw your focus to your heart center. Noticing what you're bringing with you emotionally into the practice. And take this observation without judgment. So let yourself feel exactly what you're feeling in this moment, knowing that it's okay if you need to sit with that feeling for a little while. We'll have lots of time to sit with what comes up as we hold our shapes. So just start here, honoring and observing what is making itself known. And then begin to draw your focus to the space between the eyes, checking in with the thoughts, and just observing what's happening with all of those thoughts. So by observation, we're not engaging with them. We're not actively making our to-do list. We're not thinking about our grocery list. We're just noticing how many thoughts are trying to clamor for our attention to start. Depending on where you're at in the day, you might have a lot of thoughts, like you're at the bottom of the stock floor and it's like, hey, look at me, everybody's yelling at each other. Or maybe you're in a quiet place like a library and nobody is clamoring for your attention. It's just still and peaceful. That could be the woods, a log cabin somewhere. Just a library seems like a quiet place. So if it's a quiet place, continue to let your mind be in that stillness. And even as thoughts come in and out, you just let them move on by. If you're carrying a lot of thoughts with you today, consider taking a deep breath in, gathering up as many thoughts as you can, as if you're trying to gather up that pile of clean laundry and you don't want to make more than one trip to where you're going to fold it. And then as you exhale, just gently let all of those thoughts go. Each inhale is going to gather up any thought that's trying to grab your attention. And each exhale is going to softly move that thought out and allow the brain to release and relax. One of the primary differences between yin and stretch, just regular old stretching, is our connection between breath and body. So we're going to connect those two pieces and integrate with that this sense of observing and knowing what's going on in our bodies at any given moment. So we'll start with a pranayama breath. We'll take a triangle breath. We'll breathe in for a count of 4. We're going to hold for a count of 4. then we're actually going to breathe out for a count of 6. So it's going to be more of an isosceles triangle than an equilateral triangle. So take this nice and slow. I'll count for the first few, and then we'll give you an opportunity to take this on your own. So let's take a cleansing breath to start. Deep breath in. Exhale, sigh it out. And gently breathe in through the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Retain the breath for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full inhale for 4. Fill up belly, back, and ribs. 2, 1. Pause. Try and keep the breath out of the shoulders for 3, 2, 1. And slowly release the breath for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the breath down in the belly. Retain for 4, 3, 2, 1. And slow and controlled exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause and retain for 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take this 3 more times on your own, slow and steady. Really think about drawing the breath in through the nose as it passes down through the spine to fill up the low belly. The retention stays in the low belly, not drawing shoulders to ears. And as you slowly release the breath out, there's almost resistance to let the air go. Find your breath count. Find your rhythm. After you completed your 3rd round, just go ahead and let the breath return to its natural rhythm and check back in with yourself. So mind, body, emotions. And try and focus on what's happening internally. What came up after that exercise and what changed or maybe stayed the same with the breath. Take a deep breath in here and a deep breath out. Gently roll over onto your left side. I'm just going to roll over into my right. Pause. Give yourself a really, really big hug. And then as you're feeling steady, begin to just make your way back up to a comfortable seat here. Go ahead and grab your pillow or even your towel and place it underneath the knees. We'll start with a toe squat, just to open up and move any energy that's been stagnant in the feet. Place that blanket or pillow underneath your knees. And then from here, I'm just setting our timer, you're gonna curl the toes under, reach back, and make sure that the pinky toe is there. So we're gonna hold this for 1.5 minutes. And we're gonna breathe. At any point, if this gets to be a lot, because it can be a very interesting shape, especially if it's newer in your body, give yourself that time. Maybe you hold it for just a little bit, and then you gently come out of it and you come back into it. Allow your hands to rest lightly on your thighs. Find a soft point for your gaze on the floor, or close the eyes. Keep the jaw released from the hinges and let the tongue rest at the bottom of the mouth. See what that does there with the shape. And continue to breathe. So I'm going to recommend counting the breaths. 1 inhale, 1 exhale, all the way up to 10, and then maybe starting over. Just letting the breath be your focus. Keep the breath nice and steady and slow and stable. No need to rush it. We've got 30 seconds left here. You're doing great. So hopefully be the most challenging shape in the practice, but you never know. It depends on where you feel. Keep breathing. You've got this. And let's take a deep, slow breath in and a deep, slow breath out. Gently bring your hands down to the ground, uncurl the feet, and maybe just lightly smack them on the ground. It just seems to bring the blood flow back in. And then pause for a moment as you sit back and just notice what happened in the feet. You might feel the biggest energy release come from after coming out of that shape in the feet, since our feet tend to get locked up a lot in what I like to call shoe jail. So that might be happening here, and you'd be like, oh yeah, after that comes out of it. We'll take the counter stretch, which is an ankle stretch. Just setting our timer for 1 minute with our ankle stretch. So as you're ready, bring your hands behind you. Hands can come to blocks or books or even your pillow if you've got it, just to bring the ground a little closer to you. And then just start to lift the knees up. Your knees come up. They don't have to come up very far. You're just going to that point where you feel the stretch along the front side of the feet. So not only are we starting to move energy around, stagnant energy around in the body, because if you think about the way that our blood flows, our energy flows with gravity top to bottom, so we've just moved that around. Both shapes are helping us strengthen our ankles and stretch our feet as well. So it's good stuff happening there. 30 seconds left. Keep breathing. Take a deep, slow breath in and out. Gently release back down. And again, feel free to smack your ankles. Give them a few rolls too. It might feel really good to roll the ankles one direction and in the other. So you might even be thinking after that shape, gosh, I wasn't able to go back very far. And that's perfectly fine. You don't have to go back super far. One of the things that can just change the shape in your body is where bone meets bone, which is our end range of motion. And that goes for all the joints. So shoulders and ankles and knees all have ranges of motion, and that just depends on where the bones meet. So, all right, from here, we're gonna come into caterpillar pose, and we're gonna hold this for a bit. I'm gonna offer 2 variations this evening. The first variation is more probably what you have seen with our legs straight. Let your feet relax. And then if you sit up nice and tall, you're just going to slowly walk your hands forward and then fold. Feel free to just widen your feet a little bit. Don't go out super far because that's a totally different shape. We're working to get into the back here and along the back sides of the legs. You can always use a block to rest your head on or even your bolster. So that's option 1. Option 2, which can be a really wonderful variation and help us get more into the back, is to place your pillow or your yoga bolster or even a stack of blankets underneath your knees. So legs can be really straight, legs can come up, really up to you. And then the same thing, folding forward here. So your heart might meet with your knees a little bit more. which can be great. Don't worry about needing to reach the feet. That's not the point. It's really about opening up the back side of the body as we work to find the balance between the front side and the back side. And we even did that with the toe stretch as well. So we're going to stay in this shape for 5 minutes. And I'm setting our timer now. And with this 5 minutes, the first couple of seconds, give yourself several breaths to enter into the shape. So almost as if you come into every yin shape saying, I am present, I'm available to be open to see what happens from it. I am here. And then finding that appropriate depth for you in your body. After you've done that, just taking a full body scan to begin to notice where you're at in this initial part of the shape. Softening the breath, softening the jaw, even softening the forehead. Sometimes we have a tendency to like crunch up our forehead. So see if you can soften that and let everything fold and just hang heavy. Starting to understand and feel the stillness in the body. Relying on gravity to do the work. And as we progress through the shape, and that progression just might mean increased stillness, might mean a softer, deeper breath. It could even mean a deeper variation depending on where the body and the breath invite you. It's not just one thing. Breath, body, and even mind have to all work together to invite you into this, to invite you to take a deeper variation. So tap into those things. I'm going to be silent the rest of this shape, allowing you to really focus on what you're feeling. You might even come back into our triangle breath, the 4-4-6, or counting the breaths, the 10 breaths, 1 inhale, 1 exhale, so on and so on. About 30 seconds left here. Let's take a deep, slow breath in and a deep, slow breath out. Gently from here, begin to make your way back up. Nice and slow. If you're using any props, go ahead and just move them off to the side. We're going to come onto our backs and come into puddle pose. So working toward more stillness and seeing what happens in that stillness. So our instinct sometimes after we come into these shapes is to just work off like all the jitters and just shake it all out. But what happens in your body when you come out of something that you were in for a long time and you go to another form and variation of stillness? What can you learn about that stillness and what's happening in your body? And take a deep, slow breath in. Deep, slow breath out. As you're ready, roll onto your favorite side. Pause for a moment. Give yourself a really, really big hug. And then gently find your way up to a comfortable seat. So we're going to come into shoelace next. And there's two variations with that as well. So start by bringing your legs out front and then cross the left leg over the right. We want to work into our left side first. From that cross, you're going to keep the knees together and then draw the heels toward the glutes. So almost as if knee and knee were stacked on top of each other. Don't worry about if there's a gap. You can always use your towel or your blanket right there. Pay attention to how your ankles are feeling. You can always cushion that a little bit with your towel or your blanket. So working into the outside of our left glute, feel free to stay here or fold forward. Now, depending on where your hips are at, if you've got enough blankets and you have them used in other areas, feel free to sit on up just so you can hinge more from the hips and then fold. So take that there. If you need a different variation, we can do the same thing. You can always take this on your back. So your knees are still crossed, one on top of the other. And then you'll come onto your back and just lightly press your hands on your feet and draw the heels closer toward you. So that might feel a little nicer on the back. And if the hips are naturally like forcing you back, feel free to take this variation. Okay. So we're gonna hang out in each side for 4 minutes. And feel free to use what you need, if anything, to prop your head up. Gather that support. Try your best just to let your head hang heavy. And be here. So take your steps, a couple of breaths to invite yourself back in. Recentering, being open again to what may come up during this shape and honoring that and working with it. And then as the time goes on in the shape, allowing yourself to go deeper if your body and your breath invite you there. About 30 seconds left here. And take a deep breath in, deep breath out. And to just make your way back up. If you're on your back, you can stay on your back for a minute, just wherever you're at. Go ahead and windshield wiper your knees side to side. So if you're on your back, bring your knees to the ceiling and just move them back and forth. As you take that, notice what comes up in the body. So maybe after you come out of this shape, you might feel a little bit more restless on this side. And that's okay. It just might be something to explore. There might have been an underlying reason that you're feeling restless. And now that your energy channels are a bit more open, you'll start to express that. All right. So from here, now we're going to straighten our legs once again and cross at the ankles. Scoot the heels toward the glutes. If you're on your back, just right knee on top of the left. For those of you on your back, just can press lightly on your hands, on your feet, excuse me, with your hands. And then we'll be here. So feel free to fold forward, feel free to stay. And just enter into your shape. So as you come into this side, and you've gone through the steps to recenter, to notice this shape, really begin to notice what's coming up. So our other emotions starting to make themselves known. When we open up energy channels, it can help us get into deeper layers of things that have been stuck there. Maybe it's bringing up certain memories, good memories, not so good memories. And if you're feeling comfortable and you can start to address those things, in your home, it can be a really great place to do that. But it also might not be the time. You might need more support. So just take stock of what's coming up and always feel free to move it off to the side to revisit later on. So I'll leave you all be. Just breathe. About 30 seconds left here. And let's take a deep breath in, deep breath out. And slowly make your way back up. Move any props, and then rock your hips from side to side. And sitting up for a moment, maybe crisscross applesauce or legs out straight. Just notice and observe how you feel after coming out of that shape. So find stillness even in an upright position. And since this was an asymmetrical shape, notice the differences between the left side and the right side. Again, going back to that example that I started off after we came out of the left, your left side might feel more restless than the right, or vice versa. And again, that could just be things to explore, things to work on outside of this practice to try and rebalance. As you're ready, we're going to come into saddle pose next. So there's going to be a couple of things we're going to want to help us feel comfortable in saddle pose. And there's two variations we're going to take. The first, for both variations, I'm going to recommend taking your blanket or your towel, whatever option, and place it long ways across the mat so your ankles actually have support. This is going to be an internal rotation of the hips, so we want to be very mindful of the knees. And with our ankle joint, we want to be able to provide additional support. We've got a better sense of where our ankle joint is at today based on what we learned in ankle stretch about all of that fun stuff. So the first variation I'm going to demonstrate is going to be half saddle. With half saddle, we're going to start on our left side. So your left leg is going to be back. I'm actually going to start on my right because no, I'm just going to flip it. Okay. Sorry. So you're going to come on there. You're going to keep your left ankle back. So you're going to actually sit in between your legs. Left foot comes back. So trying your best to bring the shoelace side of the foot down on your mat or your towel or your blanket. And then your right leg is going to be straight. All right. So stay here. We're going to begin to feel the stretch along the front side of the body. From here, you have a couple of options. You can go all the way back if you'd like, if that feels comfortable in your body. And being mindful that the more back you go, the more you're going to get into that sacral lumbar joint. And it could torque the knee a little bit more than you're liking. So be very cautious in those places. Just because you can go all the way back doesn't mean it's necessarily best for your body. So watch the sacral lumbar joint, the low part of the back, and the knee. So that's option one in this shape. With both variations, you can actually set yourself up a little chest heart opening support by bringing one block for your head and then one block that'll go in between the shoulder blades. And you can just use the blocks, or you can take your pillow or your bolster and place that over there. And then from there, you'll start to lean back. This head block might take a little bit to kind of adjust, just getting it right. So just know, depending on the length from the shoulders up to the head, where you want that to go. You can stay here. Depending on how your low back feels, feel free to place another blanket or pillow slightly under the tuchus to protect the low back. So that's option one. Option two, or B, is full saddle, where both knees are bent and behind you, that internal rotation of both, and you're there. All right. So depending on how much you sit, these muscles can be really tight, and that can feel a lot. Also, depending on how you're feeling emotionally today, having your heart exposed can can be a lot emotionally. So really take that into consideration too, with how far back you go. And even having this support underneath the heart may help with that emotional response. It might not either, and we want to take that very cautiously. So if you're taking full saddle, you're actually going to be here for 6 minutes. If you're taking half saddle, we're going to be 3 minutes on each side, and I'll give you the indication of when we want to switch. Okay? So breathe here. In this shape in particular, really think about sending yourself love and compassion, letting the jaw release, trying to let go of as much as you can. About 30 seconds left here for those of you in half saddle. If you're in full saddle after this 30 seconds, feel free to stay right there. If you need to come up, shake the legs out a bit and then go back. That's 100% cool. Let's take a deep breath in, deep breath out. For those of you in half saddle, just gently make your way back up. Take your left leg, maybe you straighten it back out. Feel free to take your hands on your left leg and just gently kind of move that energy around. For half saddle, then you'll keep your left leg straight, bring your right leg behind you, and then take your variation, whether that's using the same back setup or coming all the way down. If you're in double saddle and you're like, oh, I needed that release a little bit, cool. Like, feel free to also, like, just gently tap your legs with your fist, move that energy around. And then as you come back into it, both sides, notice what's happening in the body. Right? Notice how you feel. See if you can let yourself release just a little bit more. Let go. Always be mindful of the knees and the back. Especially if your knees are not feeling it and you took full saddle and you're like 3 minutes was good enough, cool. Come into like a puddle pose and hang out there and just focus on your breathing. If you took half saddle, you want to even out the sides, but if you need to, you can always flip onto your belly and reach for the foot with your hands, affecting the same area. About 30 seconds left here. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Very gently begin to find your way back up. Straighten out both legs. If you took your half saddle variation, make sure you give a little extra love and attention to your right side. Just gently moving the energy along. If you were in the full saddle version, do the same with both if you did it the last time. All right. And then from here, just gently place your props off to the side. We'll take one final shape. We'll take a spinal twist, the leg variation, just to help us reset the spine, reset the nervous system. So as you come onto your backs, I invite you to bring your left leg over your right thigh. So almost in a figure four. From here, you're going to bring your left knee down as it's still attached to your right thigh. And then turn your head in the opposite direction. If that's too much on the body, you can just bring the knees and stagger the knees one behind the other. So feel free to take what variation calls to you. Now that my foot is down, it's not going to go back up. So I'm just going to hang out in the second variation. Again, think about going in that opposite direction. So knees to the left, gaze to the right. And breathe here. And as you're ready, just bring the knees back up to center. This time, right ankle can come across left thigh, and then we'll drop that figure four into our twist. And feel free to keep the ankle on the thigh or bring the foot almost to the inside of the leg a little bit. And take your twist here. So legs have dropped to the right, gaze is going to be to the left. Take up as much space with your arms as you'd like. And then gently bring your knees back through center. Take any final movements you need before coming into Savasana, final resting pose. Feel free to take your blanket or your yoga bolster and just place it gently underneath the knees if you'd like. And then let everything sink into the earth. Take a deep, slow breath in. And exhale, sigh it out. You are here. Give yourself a moment to notice if you can be 5 to 10% more comfortable. Broaden across the backs of the shoulders, and truly feel the ground supporting you and holding you up. Begin to feel the weight of your body on the earth. Start to invite some gentle movement back into your body by wiggling fingers and toes. Take a full body stretch if you'd like, reawakening the senses. And then as you're ready, softly transition to a comfortable seat on your mat. Bring your peace fingers to rest on the earth. Feel the connection between the ground and yourself. Notice the breath as it gently moves in and out of the body. Notice the flow of energy. letting the mind be soft, paying attention to your inner wisdom. And here in this moment, start to picture what tomorrow can bring for you and set that intention here. How can you carry elements of this practice with you after you leave the mat? How can you continue to cultivate them? And as you're ready, bring your right hand to your heart, your left hand to your right. Feeling your own heartbeat and honoring and showing gratitude to yourself, especially for what it took to come to your mat tonight. It's not always an easy road, but you made it. And then take a moment to send gratitude to those who joined us to create this virtual community in this virtual space. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening and a great week. And I look forward to practicing with you again very soon. Thank you.